Hey guys, what's up? Lewin here at GarageBand and Beyond. Welcome back. Today I'm going to finally answer a question that's been emailed to me a ton of times over the years, and that is, why do I still use GarageBand? Best answer, really honestly, is because I'm always happy with the final result. Really, that's it, you know? Now, the longer, more elaborate answer would be it's easy to use. Obviously, it was free when I bought my Macintosh. It's easy to use, and it does everything I need it to do. It has all of the capabilities, all the editing, all that kind of stuff that I need it to have. And again, I'm always happy with my final results. So what more could I possibly need, you know? On the more technical side, yes, it's 24-bit. Yes, you can add AU plugins, and so you can expand its capabilities with, you know, new EQs and new compressors. Yes, you have flex time. Meaning that you can grab an actual piece of the audio and move it in the timeline. So you can set, like if the singer's just a little bit off or something, you can grab that one word and left and right line everything up. That's super powerful, and was one of those big differences for a long time. The 24-bit and the flex time thing was a big difference between Logic and GarageBand, but the latest version of GarageBand has both of those things. So the gap is a lot narrower than it used to be. So, the next question usually is like, do I need to upgrade to Logic? So my best answer for that is, if you are using GarageBand and you're finding it limiting, if you've reached a point where you're like, I want to be able to do this one thing, and I've done all the research I can, and I'm positive that GarageBand cannot do it. And if you've got a bunch of those kinds of things, then yeah, obviously you need to upgrade to Logic or Pro Tools. But if you're not finding those, if you're not finding actual limitations in the program, but you're finding that the recording doesn't sound good, unfortunately, that's not a little bit, that's 100% on you. And, you're still learning. You haven't learned how to make good stuff with GarageBand. So is it possible to make high quality recordings with GarageBand? Yes, definitely 100% yes. And, you shouldn't upgrade to Logic if you haven't figured out how to make GarageBand sound great. You know what I mean? Unless you're, like I said, limited by it, depending on the kind of stuff you're doing. I am a basic musician. I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I'm, in my late 30s. I just want to have something to record some songs. GarageBand is awesome. It's totally high quality. It makes great sounding recordings, and I couldn't be happier with it and more impressed by it, Back in the day, I started with a 4-track Fostex, tape cassette machine, and that thing was awesome to me. 4 tracks, it just blew my mind how many things I could do, and I just remember spending months with that thing and just loved my 4-track. But in comparison with GarageBand, it's night and day. I mean, GarageBand blows that 4-track out of the water. It blows like all the recording studios out of the water, just as far as like capabilities, or like all old recording studios, like, whatever, like Sun Studios and stuff like that, like technology wise, like what GarageBand can do compared to anything like Abbey Road and all those studios in the 50s and 60s is like, honestly, GarageBand, it just does a lot more. There's just no way around it as far as editing and stuff like that is concerned. Of course, they all have their, analog stuff and their compressors and the sounds, and I know all that. But as far as the actual media that was, recording the music itself, and then what you could do with that media and that recording after the fact, after it being recorded, it's, you can do a lot more now. There's no argument there. So, it's important to remember that you can also get the AU plugins. I talked a bit about that before. And if you don't know, those are, you can buy external compressors or whatever, EQs and effects. I like IK Multimedia. I buy a lot of things from them. Definitely, I got their reverbs are really cool, and definitely, the Focusrite. I bought the Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40 recently, and that came with a bunch of cool plugins that just sort of made GarageBand more powerful, more, just gave me more options, more sounds. That's really cool. So it can sort of grow with me as an engineer through my recording process. So I need a new sounding compressor. I can just go out there and, buy one, or, there are tons of free AU plugins. Just type in free AU plugins into a Google search and you'll find them. There's tons of them. Anyway, I don't know. I'd also like for this video, actually the comment section, to become sort of a discussion. You know, if you're somebody that is a Pro Tools person or has, you know, moved away from GarageBand and, you know, you're like, wow, yeah, this is why I moved away from GarageBand and this is now why I use Logic or whatever. We'd love to hear from you. You know, I do know how to use Logic and Pro Tools and I'm just happy with GarageBand. That's it, you know. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. I really hope I did. I had to make this video a few times and my head gets a little cluttered after a few shots. Not a few shots of alcohol, a few times, few takes. That's what I should have said. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. So yeah, lots of comments below. I'll be participating on that. And definitely we're going to, you know, we always talk about this kind of stuff on my Facebook page. So make sure you find the Facebook page. And I think that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.